Oh. Okay, I'm just taking a momentous crap, piss, and I'm starting to feel immensely better. It's like, that really took some work, that one. That's kind of like my first job of the day is working up a crap, or two, and that's mine today. I ate a lot last night, so it's part of it, I guess. Wow. Okay, good. Whew, man. That was a crap ton of crap. Oh, man. That was really something. Yeah, it is really something. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, dude. Dude, that stinks. Yep, crap stinks. What do you know? So I really know what I don't like. I know when people are deceptive. Okay. Just put me in eye. Oh, me too. Wow, amazing. Did it. Huh. Amazing. Oh, God. Oh, that's exhausting, you know. I didn't get much sleep last night or something, but I did sleeping. Had a couple of dreams, kind of nightmarish landscapes of one kind. So I was like, and then I started feeling really good because I just thought G4, which is this walk. It's like I've made my life a lot more sound. The fact that I can even walk by naked naturals. So when human, individual, and collective mental health, and or schizophrenia, which is really part of all disease, so any and all mental health that can intervene or aid in the delivery of any kind of violence, like a lightning strike to the human flesh. Let's see. So there's not a lot of respect for what I'm saying. He's probably honest. So you don't see me as a person. So you're looking. And at that point, and all the way up to that point, and I've been in circumstances where you feel the rising temper of an environment before somebody or something sexually assaults you. And basically the environment is pushing you away. We don't want you to be here. Why do you think an environment would push away a man who's done nothing wrong? Yeah, right? It's not a trick question. It's because that man is healthier than the general level of disease and or health of that environment. Because most of what I might call disease, someone else would say would be a healthy environment. It's healthy for maybe other people to shop in health food stores. It's not healthy for me. There's no health food store that's healthy enough for me to shop in, right? Because it's populated by psychopaths. It's not a psychopath to you, but the psychopaths to me. Because I listen to people. I don't care. I did care, right? Until this started happening. Right. Okay. All right. And then, this manager slinking around and just sitting around watching me, waiting for me to do something wrong for weeks at a time, here and there and the other. It wasn't the first time he'd done it, it was just the first time it became more obvious. Right? Even though it's not the first time I saw it. So you get a sense of people. You get a sense of how they work. Deceptive, passive-aggressive, schizophrenic, right? First time I met this guy, you never in the time that he was working there, that I was shopping there quite frequently, did he ever give me the signal of, I will do you no harm. And that's, when someone doesn't do that, as far as you're concerned, they're a psychopath, right? You know what's going to be fun one day? What's that? Good done. The statute of limitations. I'm just going to enjoy shopping in the store before I get you fired. Right? You understand me? You understand each other? Good. I remember once I saw this manager one day, and he saw me, and he peeked back inside, and the next day or two I was there, and there was another guy, probably a new guy, younger guy standing there. It's like, you could feel his energy, right? Interesting. So you could see how people around him are still taking a negative view of me. Even though I've never done him any harm. The only harm that's done to him, he's done to himself. Right? Fascinating. They want to have more problems with me. Because the only way to mitigate any lawsuit I could give them is for me to do something rash. That's all they have, is their anger toward me. And their fear. Because that's what they started off with. That's all they have. You hear that? Bump, bump. That means yes in my world. Completion. That's it. That's all there is to learn about that. They will always be aggressive to me because they have what they started off with. Their fear of me. That's it. Their fear and their disrespect for human beings. And what they want, and what would be best for them, is to have some kind of confrontation with me. And that's what they expect. They expect, at the very least, that there'll be a confrontation. The second man that was out there, he wanted a confrontation with me. The other man disappeared like a penis in a whorehouse. But the second guy, the younger guy with dark hair, right? He wasn't going anywhere. Right? He was almost daring me in his energy. He's stupid. And they're stupid. You could feel it. Hey, come on. Come into the store, I dare you. This is a local health food store. You can feel it in his energy. Right? Right? Which is also very common to the local male population. Do you think they're accountable to themselves or others? No. Very nice man. I can't imagine what it is. Yeah. So, the thing that I just freaks me out. Right? They're in a state of violence still. They're in a state of fear, violence, and continued prejudice and fear. You have no idea how much this disgusting thing, this bald-headed fuck, is afraid of me. I've never had one man more afraid, more obsessed with me. For the last year or so after he kicked me out of the store, I could feel him in my ethereal field every day. Every day. I can see him in there anytime I want. That guy hates my guts. Right? He wants me dead. He wants me gone. He can't get me out of his world. Right? Because I humiliated him back. I humiliated him in his own store in front of his employees. Right? And he was wrong. And he deserved it. That makes it even worse. Right? Because that's his life. And that's his world. Right? Right? When psychopaths make a mistake, they hold that against you too. You understand? It's your fault. Right? And since I've put continued tort on them through my witchcraft, right? They're constantly in tort. They're constantly just exuding, unfortunately, and excreting all kinds of negative energy in my direction. I might as well learn to feed off it or something. I don't know. Because, that's who you're dealing with. Fearful creatures. Very scared people. I'm scared too, but I don't attack people in public for no reason. I haven't come across any people yet. My knee seems to be getting better. Yeah. They've essentially become what I've forced them to become, in a way. You call out predators, they're gonna become more like what they are. Because the only thing this guy does is stalk people. This is his like big thing, right? So he's a stalker, but he doesn't know it. It's the feminine thing. He skulks around the store sometimes. Added to which he never trusted me, so. Creepiest people I ever met. Naked Naturals. Janice, Chris, Jordan, Mike, Sue. These are the top management ownership teams. And you look deeper and you see the abuse. You see the schizophrenia. I mean, I don't suppose any of us have the right to accuse anyone of being a schizophrenic, but and I don't mean like we don't all sort of suffer from schizophrenia, but these people, they have good survival and they're working and they've got money or property, but they have a twisted reality. Yeah, money doesn't solve schizophrenia. It doesn't solve the twisting of reality. People are born into a twisted world and they're told, well, if you make money, you'll be good, you'll survive. But survival isn't just about making money. It's about healing, and the violence of the world is a twisted reality, and it twists your reality. It twists people against each other, twists them against themselves. Their story became predatory. You know this because of the effect it has on you. Fear, confusion, terror, night terrors, nightmares, diarrhea, right? Going on, right? All kinds of things. Right? And you live with that. But I went by there one day and it's like, And I'm pretty sure that young man's not going to put out that energy again. It must have terrified him. So, you've taken I haven't met anybody yet. What do you want me to take away from this interaction? Like, real quickly, what do you want me to take away from it? You think I'm a bad person? Easy. Not too much. Good job. And so you get a sense of these predators. They're intensely angry, intense with projection, intense with slander, fear. These are absolutely sick, weak, degenerate people. And as soon as I told him, I said, I'm never going to step on your premises again. And what does that mean to them? Well, if I'm not going to shop for food at a local market that basically offers you discount, quote-unquote, health food at premium prices because they have connections, right? They have certain connections with certain distribution chains, and they feel like they're just really smart businessmen. They basically hand it to them, you know? In a way like, you know, you can't make a lot of businesses work unless you have some kind of advantage, right? And that's why certain businesses work and certain don't. And that favoring people. It's nepotistic quite often. It's who you know, that type of thing. I gotta have some food. It's a little better that I can talk about, but yeah, these are creepy people, but it's close to over, you know. They're creepy, scary human beings. Creepy, scary humans, you know, like really scary. These are sick people. These are very sick people. I scared the shit out of them, basically. when people rob things from you, that you can't insure. When people rob things from you, that you can't insure, or that you thrive on being assured that those things cannot be robbed from you, and that's all you can do, that's rape. Sociopathic female stole a $1,000 painting from my home. Not the first time a woman has stolen a $1,000 painting from my home, and she came up to me in public to say hi to me, to make herself feel better about having stolen property. She's a mother with a husband, 2 children. She could have just stayed away from me, but she couldn't do that. There's a woman with other women sexually assaulted me in a healing store, right? Where they offered healing services. By the way, I get sexually assaulted by women all the time, everywhere I go. And I was in the island about 6 or 7 years later, and she waved at me at a distance. She waved at me. I met her own husband, and he wouldn't even make eye contact with me because he had a consciousness of guilt. You see the difference between, he's a nicer person than she is. It's fine. I'm not gonna be angry. I just so you know, I do. There's things that women can learn from nice men. I think a lot of the things that men and women have to teach each other is self-control. A nice woman could teach me that. We can do that. Different genders, different people, friends can help teach us self-control. We can teach them self-control. Humans need that. We're animals. Like, arr, 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 you know, we need self-control, right? It's hard if we're passionate people to know, and in a complicated, even criminal culture, to know what our boundaries are. When I was young, I just thought, if somebody just told me what all the boundaries were, really, truly, and I could work within them, that'd be great. Right? And then over your life, maybe some people, we learn different things, and what I've learned is that different genders, men too, but from my perspective, because I'm a man, I have women coming out to me, men too, and they're total cunts, no argument there. Men are total cunts. Unless they're nice, right? Cunts until proven otherwise. I mean, men are cunts until proven otherwise. I mean, they're pretty freaky people. And violent and things like that. Sure, okay, done. I agree. But I get more women than men come up to me, and I have thoughts on it. Thoughts for my own sake, whether or not, it necessarily makes a woman feel good or a man feel good. And over the course of my life, I'm not really happy, I guess, with my treatment from females, even though, given the enormity of the impact of this growing awareness, I have to really be careful not to get mad at women. I'm not saying I feel like hurting them physically or raping them. I just mean, when they do get in my face, and they do, I've become more focused, more alert, and more clear with my energy. And I find when you're clear with your energy, they just go away. I don't want a woman to be scared, but for certain women, I just want you to know that I don't want you to want to have anything more to do with me, but without hurting you, right? for scaring you. For instance, I've had a stalker for 5 years. So that means that between the age of basically 16 and 21, this woman has been stalking me. And I'm not a fan of that behavior. And it's just like, my new experiences in life every year are like, oh, this was what it's like to be stalked by this type of person. And oh, this is what it's like to be sexually harassed by these people. And oh, this is what it's like to be sexually assaulted by this person. Those are all my new experiences of women from year to year. Oh, this kind of person can scare the tits off you too. Oh, that's my experience as a single white male walking around. I'm a good creative guy. I'm a good guy. I think sometimes carrying this camera makes it worse, or wearing this hat, or whatever it is that does it for people. I don't know. It just kind of points them the wrong way. But I don't upload videos very much anymore, so I just like making them. I don't care if anyone watches them. I just like, I feel better talking into this camera. And I think I'm safer not uploading things. I just get to a point in life where I don't have to talk about how much I hate women. It's just like, if I want to do something online, it's like, I did some videos at home today. That was my plan. I struck up some videos on my computer to like what can I do at home kind of stuff. And if I ever have an idea, maybe there's like the right boundaries, like I can talk and talk and talk. I mean, I can. And my neck was getting sore just sitting there. I'm just like, my body does not really like sitting at a computer very much. Strangely enough, it likes walking around. Yeah, I'm like an animal. I'm like a dog. Like I have to go for a walk. I have to go, and it's a natural part of my brain. And today, so when my hamstring was hurting again, I had to go get some cardboard and put it in my shoe because I knew I needed to elevate my left foot a little bit. It's like, and that solved it. I'm like, fuck, thank you. I see how that works for a while. Jesus. So I've done some smart things this week. So I should have a good day. Yeah. So Naked Naturals is afraid of me, basically. It became a really big thing. Because, you see, when people do violence, by the time it gets to the point, they don't think a lot of things are as big as they are. So one of the first things to die in a process of human stalking is a sense of proportion. A sense of proportion, right? And so they lost their sense of proportion. The proportions they would apply to themselves, they weren't applying to me. And so essentially they had one and all, these people I'd known for 12 years, eliminated me, and then, of course, raped me. Because by eliminating me, they had robbed me of something that I can't ensure, which is my safety and dignity as a human being. People can do all kinds of things against that without going to jail, right? Especially as a group. So this store where groups of people essentially come together to sell me my produce and make money and do what they want to do in life had come together to stalk and rape me in the store. Right? They took something that you're not supposed to take from another human being. So they're a rapist organization. Okay? It just isn't something that happens when you treat people properly. That's why you call it having a profession. Right? A professional, right? They didn't even talk to me first. They wouldn't even approach me. They had eliminated all of these considerations most evidently. And several times over the last time I was confronted by them. 3, 4, 5, just, hey, okay, let's cool this down, let's cool this down, let's cool this down. No. Sorry. Okay. Okay. I think that was seem unwilling to consider them. So, not much. So, this is like a lot of bullies. They're cowards, right? They're cowards, and they've lived in an institutional life all their lives. And they touch somebody special. They rape somebody special. You understand? You hurt a very special human being. To me, and I'm more special than you are. Do you know that? My family's better than your family. We're greater people. We accomplish more in life. I do more in a day than Janice would do in all the days of her life combined. I'm just a better, more important person. I'm a more aware, healthy human being. I've seen more. I've dealt with more than she ever has. I promise you. I've dealt with things. She's not a master of human health issues. She's a robotic health moron. Shilling barely legitimate supplements to vulnerable older people. That's all you do for your living, you know. So, it's all just to take. I didn't turn a card today, but skunk medicine. You know, it's like people can feel your self-esteem, feel good about yourself. You know, if you're bullied, y'all, like. Well, no hostility. Got it. Well, it's pretty scary for me. So, think there's anything you can do about it? Do you think I should just... Right, they violated their fundamental trust with the public. Forming an enterprise, getting a license to practice a profit-oriented business while inviting the public onto the premises to buy their food and produce, which is an essential service, which is why they stayed open during COVID, right? But they denied me that essential service right at the beginning of COVID. They denied it to my home. I couldn't get any of the food I needed ever. Not even this health food store, which I live on a fixed income, is inexpensive, and 1 block away from me, the next store that I could go to is a half-hour walk, right? Now, once something changes your life like that, regardless of any other mitigating circumstances, that's abusive, isn't it? That's abusive in the extreme. That's abusive. And when I came in that day, the moment that man came up to me, it was clear with his physical body language that he had no problem with the idea of intimidating me so much that I would never want to come back to that store again. Right? That was his entire intent. Right? And it was already done. It was done before I came in the store. I could feel it. I could feel it. When I came in the store that day, I knew on camera that that was a place that I wasn't supposed to be. You ever just gone somewhere and felt like, it was like showing up to a Hell's Angels meeting, you know, covered in honey and feathers from the Pride Parade. You know, it was like, I'm not supposed to be here. I could feel it at the end of the street, right? I could feel the aggression from you and your store, from my house 2 blocks away. Do you understand? I could feel it from the block. I had a glass of water before I walked into the store, and my hands were shaking. Do you understand? And all I said to you was, I'm being treated in a hostile manner. And I've complained specifically about it. And the guy said, I haven't seen anything, without making any eye contact. right? And that in itself tells the whole story, right? Because he hadn't seen anything, he was saying the rule is that nothing's happened. I don't believe you. I haven't seen anything. Ergo, your problems are nothing to me. When you look at my shaking body, and you would say, why did you walk into that store that day? It's not my fault. I had to finish it. You see, if I didn't, the next day I could have come in, and the day after that, and maybe things would get better after weeks and months, but they would eventually make me sick. You understand? They would give me cancer, the level of hatred. The level of fear, dominance, aggression that has to be projected onto another human being. To feel it 2 blocks away. To come at the end of a block where your store is located and actually have more fear than I've ever had in my life and dread walking into a store. And then to have what happened happen. Do you have any idea how much maliciousness you have to direct at another human being? That's a crime. Do you understand? That's a crime. That's a crime. That's against natural law. You understand? People who are healthy don't make other people feel that way for no reason. Do you understand? That shows that those people are criminal in their orientation. Certainly that they, at very least, been criminalized in their lives. And they're kind of a criminal type of mind. And, like, maybe criminals who shouldn't be put in jail, but criminals nonetheless. Well, maybe she's made herself scared of me. I'd be scared if I was. I'm happy. Yeah. They're criminals. And I gotta say, as someone who studies criminal psychology, Jordan, Janice, and Mike, it was really good to know you. I don't think you're the worst people in the world, but you are a criminal type personality set, especially when working together. The things I've heard and seen over the years are incredible to me. That you sell the things that you do with a straight face, and you deal with vulnerable people, and you've never really even bothered to go even get a medical degree if you care that much about human beings, because you never really see what's going on in their lives. You don't know anything about them. You're just shoving products in their faces, right? I was really sick once, and I can't tell you how many fucking money, how many hundreds of dollars I spent, and they kept shoving products in my face. Buy this, buy this, buy this. It was useless. I eventually threw them all away. They were useless. Absolutely useless. Absolutely useless. Nothing that had to do with what I needed. Nothing helped. Nothing did anything. And it's interesting that I learned, it's probably not as uncommon as we think, that the husband of one of the female managers seemed to have a lot of similar symptoms to myself. I don't mind if someone thinks I'm a rapist, but that just keeps them and everyone they know away from me. And I think they pretty much think that. I'm pretty sure they do. At least Mike does. Because that's their projection, right? Did you say you're very determined? And you can just draw a circle around them with like a Wonder Woman lasso. And sick asterix, psychopath asterix, criminals asterix, and the asterix is in ways that may not be apparent to anyone but you. And you have to live with that. There are people who have criminal type personalities who do not go to jail and probably don't belong in jail until we find a way, not through jail or a penalty, to really deal with people who, for whatever reason, become too aggressive or violently aggressive, and their judgment is off. If you want to say that humans generally are good, then you could say, well, they commit violence because they're trapped, they're scared, and their judgment is off. And it doesn't help when groups of people are involved, doesn't help when women are involved, doesn't help when men are involved. If you're a woman or a man, you may have felt that. Oh, that river is really going. But a good day. I haven't passed anybody yet. But that guy Mike has been on my mind. He's been in my ethereal field. He has a, call it like a demon, or complex of fears and other indwelling shock-related forces of some considerable intelligence, because they have a lot to do with what people feel they need to do to protect themselves and how they judge various threats. And that energy, if projected at you, you can feel it like a spirit or a demon chasing you. When I was at the end of the street that day, and in subsequent days, I could feel so much fear. So much fucking fear. It was tangible. And the strange thing is that the person causing all of it was a woman, a local sexual predator. Anyway, his energy still stalks me. Yeah. And I went by the store, behind the store, for the first time in maybe a year or two. And I was standing across the street and they were getting a delivery. And I just looked over and I saw him talking to the delivery guy, and I looked away, right? And I looked back and he was gone. Just like that. He must be so fucking terrified of my energy. He's looking for me every day. He was probably hoping never to see me again. He probably feels like my victim. You know what I mean? That's how these people work, especially that feminine characteristic of attack, defend, attack, be a victim, attack, be a victim. I kind of understand. If you attack someone and you shouldn't, or even if you should, and maybe you feel like you have to, you can still feel afraid of what your enemy or what your victim is going to do. Because the victim is always the enemy, and the enemy is not always the victim. We can all relate to that. You know, we can all, well, any of us who've ever gotten really angry or been hurt, in the last few years, did I ever think that I would have to be as aggressive as I am? I had a man stalking my mother all last summer. I had a woman in the building stalking my mother and me. It doesn't matter what you think or what's on their mind. Stalking is fucking stalking. The person has a wrong energy. Wrong. And it's creating discomfort and even physical problems in their object. Her dog had constant bowel issues. I know because she would constantly talk about them, her dog's poo, or lack thereof. And I would get poo issues for a day or two after talking to her. Understand that. Men like me are, you might say, more easily sexually assaulted. Her dog is feeling this way. Her own dog. Right? It got so bad, and this is usually what happens, is that one day I was walking home, and I observed her from a distance, talking to someone, which turned out to be my mother. And I remember just thinking, because I come home, my senses are really alert. That person has a bad energy. She's stalking them. There's something too intent about her aura, right? Something a little too intense.
How you doing?
Hey, very good, thanks. Hey, how you guys doing?
Great.
Good.
Seen you a lot on the beach.
Yeah, I live around there, yeah.
Parksville Beach.
I've got a permanent trail in my own mind, yeah. Anyway, you guys look strong and healthy. Have a good day. Thank you, yeah. Do you know what that was? Great, strong male, alpha male energy. That is a beautiful fucking man, dude. I'm not gay, but as I get older, I think I'm actually gonna go down man alley a little bit. I might need a serious little bromance on my hand because, you know, at least you know, I'm not gay, but at least you know they're not gonna get pregnant. You know? Do I want to stick my dick up a man's ass? I barely want to stick my dick up a woman's ass or a woman's vagina. I might stick it in her mouth if she was nice, if she asked me nicely. So that's kind of like, I'm pretty MGTOW. I've never had a girlfriend. I'm not going to. I'm not thinking any woman seriously considers what I just said, but as anything but offensive. But you know what I'm thinking? Like, where should I stick my dick? I don't know what my gender is. Like, where is my dick? Usually I just stick it in the air and rub it really hard. I watch 18-year-old girls suck on dildos online, and that basically does it for me, you know. That really does. I mean, I'm noticing that the sort of pretend blowjob from young, beautiful women, you know, just watching them lick the shaft. I'm almost glad that it's not a real man shaft because I don't have to be jealous. And I'm also glad that they're just not sucking anyone's dick but I do like watching them do it. I mean, it's male fantasy time, right? Now there's an old woman coming.
Hello. Loud, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. It's very loud. You're right.
I
Hi.
haven't been here since Friday.
Oh, yeah. Once the rain comes, it seems to get higher. It's been interesting.
Did it rain last night?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think it did.
Yeah. So, but it somehow it could have been raining upriver or something. So, yeah.
Yeah, the bears fish. So,
Yeah. I've never seen them.
okay. Horrible out there.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. I don't know how the bears do it.
Yeah.
Not
I
sure.
ran into a bear here.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving weekend, Sunday. And it was huge.
Yeah.
The size of my car. And he barked, and I looked up, and it was from that far away. And it went up a tree. And gone.
Yeah.
Something.
I know, right? Big animal.
Yeah, that's right. No one mattered.
You know what? I'll tell you
Size
this.
of my car.
I'm glad you came out. I'm glad you came away safe. I'll give you some of my my thoughts on the matter, in the sense that I'm always scared too, but the bears are quite timid.
They're afraid of us.
Yes, so that seems to work quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I too have seen a few, and I just like you. I mean, I'm
Well-
literally frozen in my tracks for a moment.
Well,
you
then
know?
that bear
Yeah.
came to my house
Oh.
with the two babies.
Oh.
So he
Really?
wanted out.
So they like you. So they like.
I don't He wanted out. So
Yeah.
I always check my camera because there's a lot of raccoons in my place. So I was trying to feed them. That's why-
Yeah. Cool. Of course. Yeah.
And
Nice, yeah.
I give them food, I give them, cat food. And I looked in the camera, he was on my porch eating the Oreos I left for the raccoons. I'm like, oh.
Wow.
So it was the baby. It was still big,
Yep.
but not as big as mom.
They're always big, but mom's the biggest. Yeah.
I went out, I ate a couple apples. I was trying to throw them over the fence, but my shoulder was really sore. It hit the fence.
Go
and landed.
under him. Yeah.
It hit the fence and landed.
Uh,
So next thing I know, mom was at the fence. I was kind of worried because my fence isn't that strong.
yeah. Right. If she
was-
wanted to, she could.
She
Yeah.
was much, much bigger. She made that same noise the day we ran into her.
Yeah.
She made like a huffing noise.
Yeah.
She made that same noise, and then she took off, and there was a baby, another baby. There's three of them. So they took off. He stayed, ate his apples.
Yeah.
Then I looked out, and he was, I have one of these tree planters, sides of the tree. He's sitting on it. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm scalded. It's not that safe.
They certainly feel comfortable, don't they?
Yeah, so I went out, and I said, oh, you don't want to sit there. I installed that.
Well, it sounds like you're very good with bears.
Oh, I
You
love
have
all
to be strong
animals.
with your boundaries. But
I'm
yeah.
worried about cougars.
Yeah.
They want to kill you.
Well, you know, if the bears are around, the cougars are probably
Well,
I'm
they
not
got
a-
compound just past Broken here, and you can see a lot of wildlife.
This one's safe, right? Like your home, like. Yeah. Well, of course,
He
I
would
expect
protect
that.
you.
Yeah, no, I
He would
expect.
try.
I know
He'd
you're.
keep you like this.
I know you're smart about it. You're a smart lady. I just, with cougars around, that's just making me nervous. Oh my God.
That's what I fear. But I know
I have a small one at home too.
Yeah.
But we're not in a rural area so much.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Yeah. Which is nice.
I
in a
don't
way,
go out
but
at night.
it's a different world, isn't it?
Yeah, my neighbors, such an idiot. She walked her dog at night. Almost like
You should tell her nicely. Send her a brochure. You know, sometimes people don't know. You got to put the fear in them a little bit. You should be a little afraid of cougars, but also kind of be aware, right? You make noise and have a big dog, not a little dog.
I'm gonna get like a big cat bear spray just in case I run into it. But that little one I have, that's not gonna matter. don't think.
Yeah. Well, with your energy, I don't think they're going to bother you. People,
I usually have treats.
right? Yeah.
I usually have treats when I ran into a dog.
You know what? Animals like cougars, if they're going to go for people, they're going to look for someone vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I don't see you as a vulnerable person. It's about energy, right? Oh, yeah, yeah. It's about energy. And I think this is probably fun. You work with big animals all the time. But you're also like me, like reasonably afraid and terrified. Because you never know what they're going to do. You don't know for
They
sure.
could kill me.
They could. If someday you could get up one day and decide, that's it, right? They're wild animals. But I try to believe that
Well, I think she lives.
Yeah.
I think they lived on our close to our place.
they're useful at territory.
Yeah, it's been territory.
So isn't
There
it?
was one last year. The last year before,
Yeah.
a neighbor called conservation. They came out with a trap.
It's like you're in their territory,
And
right?
that's what I said. They live here. It's their place. They're just letting them stay.
Education. I've learned a bit. As I've spent more time walking around, I've learned to respect their... I love walking into people who taught me, said, you know, if you see it there, like, that's kind of their territory. Just assume it's theirs and go walk away.
That one on the news.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
was sitting outside having a
yeah.
cigarette or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
They're
really?
their leg and going,
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they're mean.
But like one guy said to me, and he grew up in there, he said, they're like people. You can catch them in a bad mood. You know what? It takes very little, especially with a female bear. You just, whatever.
The babies.
Yeah,
That was
babies.
what I was doing. Because I told my neighbor about it and she said, oh yeah, there's a sow with 2 cubs. I said, well, I didn't see the cubs. It's her.
I saw a cub one day, I'm not the female. So I turned around immediately. I was weird because the cub was kind of hidden. And it was a dark day like this, right? And my eyes just wandered. And I'm like, oh, I turned around. Small bear on it, like, there's no way I'm saying it right. I'm not going to say, I can't, part of me just kind of wants to, I think part of your mind wants to just like look around and see. I didn't even wait.
Oh no.
I really respect
Have you heard that?
yeah. What the,
You heard that noise?
Yeah.
Like that?
yeah,
We just stopped,
yeah,
turned around, and just walked back the direction we came from.
yeah. Well, good, I won't,
Just slowly. You know, we didn't run or anything. That we just turned around and said,
well, good, sounds like I'm doing the right thing. That's kind of what I do. I've just been learning.
I
But
don't think they'll hurt us.
anyway, have a nice walk and stay warm, man. Yeah.
Every year it's changed and come back.
I do like to stop here now. If you ever have a chance, the more I've stopped here and waited to, it's quite sonorous. It's quite sonorous, yeah. So,
It's not eagle or a hawk. What is it so far?
yeah, I don't know. It could be an eagle, yeah.
I
Well,
don't know how they're fishing in these waters. They must get into the pools like this, eh?
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it happens. But, well, it's nice to meet you. Sound like
Yeah,
you're
nice to
local.
meet you.
Yeah.
I live on Hookham Road. Look at freaking trees pounding over and over in the water.
I heard one fall down the river the other day.
Did you?
Thunderous. Yeah.
Hawk, maybe?
That's a seagull, I
Wow,
think.
that was big.
But there are apparently different kinds of seagulls. Someone told me there's different species,
It
right?
looked like a giant seagull.
That's a big one. That was a big one. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, great. Stay safe, eh?
Yeah, you too.
Thank you. Yeah.
See ya.
Bye. I might upload this because you know what that was? That was me having days and days and committed hundreds of hours to talk about how much I hate women. in general, I don't really hate them, but you know what I mean. Like, you wouldn't get the idea that I love them. Put it that way, okay? It's like, you know, I don't like children, but I don't stalk them and try to hurt them. Okay? They're your children. You love them. It's not my job to love your children. I'm not Jesus. I hate people who love children. Oh, I love children. I don't love children. They're dirty, they're loud. I was quiet and clean. I was pure as an angel. My feces could feed homeless people. I had toys, simple as they were. An airplane I love. I love playing with airplanes, but I'm terrified of traveling. Right? But I love playing with airplanes. Go figure. So, I didn't finish saying, that was a really nice woman. I really wasn't sure. I had to use my instincts. The dog was really nice. You can't avoid the acquaintance when the dog likes you. So I was like, but she's good with energy, and she let me figure out my own energy. So not only is she good with animals, she's good with me. She's telling stories about dealing with bears and fences and apples and cougars and this. And at the same time, like myself, she seemed a little more knowledgeable than me, keenly sensible that no amount of knowledge will keep you always safe around wildlife, which is pretty fucking sensible if you ask me. There are people, kind of like a white person might call them bear whisperers. I think there are people in the world that get along really fucking well with large animals. No doubt. Men, women, whoever they are. And it's an incredible talent. And it kind of puts us all to shame a little bit, because in a way, it's too bad we're not all like that. Like, I saw a man come up to a man with a punk haircut, a native man, and a pit bull with no muzzle. And I've been standing there for 10-15 minutes, and you couldn't pay me to walk up to that dog. But this guy in a cowboy hat walked up and just paid them absolutely no fear, nothing, and it was fine. I was convinced that at some point I was going to hear jaws closing and he was going to lose his hand. You know, do you have any idea how fucking hard those dogs can bite? Like, and that's it. That's two different kinds of people. If you were a rodeo person, you rode bucking broncos, I would say, holy fuck. Why would you get on that horse? I don't even ride a horse. Imagine how scary it would be to put me on a bucking bronco and fucking get thrown off and whatever, much less a bull. Are you kidding me? You know? Like, whew, boy. I can't imagine it. You couldn't pay me enough. You couldn't give me $1 billion trillion to want to do that. I like living too much. Hi. Hello. Hey. Hello.
Ouch. My toes hurt every day now. They're not happy, but I think we're well on our way. This is good. So that was a nice lady. And then there were some other people that were nice. I was like, huh, positive, strong energy. You look healthy and strong. Have a good day. I try. The time will tell. Because like the thing about my process of dealing with shock, one, oh shit, you're someone who gets shocked by people. Okay. That puts you into a kind of minority, as far as you know. Unless there's some sort of underground communication system for people who, down deep, just had the shock kicked out of them too many times in life, which is a lot of us. And then there's like a minority of people who talk about it or write journals about it. There are people who deal with shock all their life and they never even call it shock. So and that's okay, because you're still dealing with it. Just like I was dealing with shock before I knew I had shock, but it's very helpful to understand shock, or just use the word shock, I should say. I don't really have the greatest understanding of what I'm talking about. That's why I call it shock. Things that are shocking are hard to understand. And so it only makes sense that shock is hard to understand. The shock in shocking things, okay? So that's how I'm using the term, the shock in shocking things. That shock is a lot of things to a lot of people, okay? So let's just put that there for a second. Shock, that's a lot to a lot of people. It's like I'm putting a word to something like a scientist calls the universe dark matter. And I'm going, well, we've got a word. Great, guys. I still don't know what it is. I can see some of its effects. It moves like an animal through the human world. I think never do I feel down or depressed or sad, or like something fundamentally beautiful and essential has been robbed from the vivid essence of my happiness as a child, that I do not account for some kind of shock to anything and everything that's made me feel that way. That in a world that might more likely suggest that that's my own fault and I should work harder and go fuck someone and take some medication, which is basically what every psychiatrist in the world will tell me. Get a girlfriend, fuck someone, and get a job, and you'll be fine. They just see me as unsocialized. They'll give you any number of diseases, but just the ones that have been around the longest will say, okay, let's skip all that, because they'll see how smart I am, and they'll be like, just go fuck someone and get a job, man. So you got a high IQ, you're too smart for your own good. Basically what they want people to do is go fuck someone and get a job, or take their medication, or all of the above. Hi. Hello. Okay. Hi. Hello.
Hi. Come here. I sit. What a good girl.
Toes hurt. And the forest is full of Christmas trees. I've never had a girlfriend. I've only had women stalk me. You might say, well, that was the flirtation process. I should have picked one of them and fucked them, and I would be married right now. I mean, because girls stalk. Ever since I was young, they would stalk me. They never wanted to be my friend. They never wanted to find out, hey, what town were you born in? That would be a nice way to, a young girl said, hey, man, where were you born? Oh, Swindon, England. Cool. You want to know where I was born? Not really. Pass me the glue. And that would have been a good start. Donna St. Louis came from St. John, which I thought was way out east, but also I think there's a city in BC called Fort St. John. So I can't remember if it was St. John or Fort St. John. Anyway, she seemed nice. Howdy. Hi. Ooh. Hi. Ooh. That's a good gallop they got there.
Yeah. Wesley, over here.
whenever I pass young girls, I only think about their vaginas after I pass by them, and I'm satisfied that I'm no threat to them. I never approach young women and think, vaginas. There's just no way to approach food. Oh, hi. Like, I'm sure there are men who was like, hey there, ladies. Can you tell what I'm thinking about right now? It's like, look, your testicles automatically are thinking about vaginas. On some level, I'm sure my sperm were aware that two girls were walking by. And they're like, don't worry, he never does anything. Then there's like conspiracy theorist sperm that are going, oh wait, this is the big one. This is when he turns into a complete animal. Wait, it's gonna happen. Nah, come on, get back. I don't know if you guys were afraid or just perverted. You're delusional. Imagine the conversations that go on among your sperm. Come on, you gotta believe in the master. One day, we will actually get into a vagina. But aren't we like 50 years old? Like, come on, guys. It's time to just pack it up and go to Bakersfield. Look, what's happening? Oh, he's just masturbating again. Still, it's fun. Come on. The young ones are all like, come on, let's go. Over. The old like, hey, come on, children. Stay with us. Stay with the old people. There's a reason why we're still alive. We don't always go when we're summoned. Send plasma. Send anything. It's not worth it. There's nowhere to go up there. It goes nowhere. It goes to a toilet bowl. We don't believe you. Look at, yay, look. It's warm and wet. No. What's happening? Where's the egg? Imagine the disappointment when they hear the flush of the toilet. It's just too sad. I don't think my sperm like me anymore. Oh. It's funny though, right? I think it's funny. It's lighthearted. Sometimes I have a darker humor. I've become a dark person again. I've always had been a bit dark though. Light and dark, like a normal person. Light and... People say, light and love, love and light. I have never in my life said that with a straight face. It's like if I had like a sort of a thing to say to people, I'd be like, stay safe and be strong. God knows what we're enduring, even as I speak. In fact, I think the fact that God does know all this stuff is a little bit suspicious. Everyone's like, God knows why that man killed those 3 children. God knows why that mother took her children and drove their car over a cliff into a lake. God knows why all those people died in Africa. Why does God know all this stuff? Isn't it because God is the mastermind of all of this suffering? Jesus Christ. Oh, there you go. There's another one. Anyway, still lighthearted, right? Still light and love. Oh, man. Generally friendly people I meet today. I have to say, it's a good day. Life is starting to go back to normal. Anyway, I noticed over the last month or two that Mike's was appearing in my field glass, and then all of a sudden it all came back with a rush. I remember there's 2 crows sitting on this wire on day 2. I was out there. It was day 2 of walking by the store, and the truck was there. And again, he came out and disappeared really quickly. And the next day there was someone with dark curly hair or something. I was like, I don't have great eyes. I just know that their energy was on me. So it's like, that's enough to let me know that Mike had alerted this coworker as to the potential of my presence and who I was and so forth. It's like, God, when people are afraid, if this guy's brain was working that hard before he sexually assaulted me, we wouldn't be here today. So I guess he's had a lot of time to think about me scaring the tits off him. Just because I'm a strong, healthy man. I would never hurt him. But the guy deserves a kick in the ass for sure. Kick in the balls, maybe. If any one of them had just called me, emailed me or anything and said, hey, we're sorry. We're sorry. Hey, here's a month's worth of free food. We're so sorry. Look, no hard feelings. Right? That's when the victim also needs to know that you're not mad at them. Because it's a real bother when you victimize people. You know, because then they are a threat. Are they going to sue you? You know, are they going to become this? You know, are they going to tell people you can't really trust them anymore? Maybe you didn't trust them to begin with. It's all very awkward. So you say, hey, no hard feelings. It's okay. You know, we're good. We just want you to be good. And, you know, it would have been over. But people don't behave that way. No one ever says sorry to me. No one's ever sorry. No one's ever sorry. And I think But sorry is enough for hurting someone who just once collected all of the scratch and sniff Snickers his first, second, and third and fourth grade teachers put in his books and stuff, because I kept all those books and I steamed or ripped them all off and put them in a sticker book, and I had a sticker book full of scratch and sniff stickers. That's probably the best thing about school, is the scratch and sniff. That's all the free shit they ever gave me. Probably about $5 at a dollar store of scratch and sniff stickers. That's all my teachers ever gave me. Remember, I think in grade 1 we did Valentine's Day cards. That was probably the last time I ever gave anyone a card for Valentine's Day. You know, I've never given a woman a Valentine's Day card. What a nice day. You know, for a few days before that, the ravens were all over the place. I'm like, why are the ravens out there? And the ravens are in absentia medicine and things like that. But it could be anything. They're like mysterious creation. Anything's possible. I really respect the raven. But now things have settled down. You know, there was they touched me. You know, they took something from me, and it's like it connects you to your predator in a way. If they didn't think well enough of you to begin with, they probably don't think well enough of me now. And time will tell. As long as I just stay away from them, don't threaten them. When I got them and their employees to stay away from me, I was also protecting them from me, because so much violent energy was directed into my body that a man really could become violent, you know? It, you know, really, 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 really could. It's dangerous for all of us. If you're like an alpha male and somebody hurts you, how the fuck do you know you're not gonna fucking throw a punch at somebody one day? Really, it'll happen. I mean, that's the big danger about being an alpha male. There are people out there who be like, geez, I would never punch anybody. And it's like, well, I would. I know exactly how far I can be pushed when I will fucking be throwing a swing, and I'm not even a fighter. But I tell you, I have fight in me, and you're not gonna like it, right? Because I'm not punching you. I'm punching a fucking demon. I'm punching the evil out of you. It's something inside of us. It's not me. It's something in the human body. It's why some dogs bite other dogs. It's like they try to bite the evil out of them. They're like, something's wrong. Dogs get bit when they've been around humans or they've learned bad habits. They become a little too aggressive. And it's really because the inconsistent love and discipline that they got from humans and other abuses besides. And they become unsocialized. And dogs will bite them. So I had a dog. He met another dog, and that dog just put its mouth around his neck. And the owner was mortified, and I said, it's okay. He's just telling my dog something. I didn't like this dog, my mother's dog actually. And I said, it's all right, it's okay. He probably needed that. Don't be hard on your dog. The last thing I want him to do is think that their dog was violent. You know, it was one of those cases where they're like, oh, he doesn't normally do that. And normally I would agree with you, you know, get mad and stuff, but it's like, no, my dog deserved it. The dog wasn't trying to hurt him. He was just saying, you need to settle the fuck down. You're not in the right state of mind, you know? But there was a reason that Charlie was in that state of mind. My mom eventually found a new home for him. It was something, unfortunately, this is just the nature of social disease. We say, oh, I could hate my mom, or I hate women. It's like, let's just call it social disease. In fact, again, I read something on YouTube, and it was just like, you know, someone said, you know, my parents were not good parents. I eventually figured out that my parents just weren't good parents. There's a lot of people out there like me, is what I'm discovering. And they were like, my parents weren't good parents. And I just decided I was going to make sure that I didn't make my children feel that way. You know, I'd make sure that I never sacrificed my relationship to my child. And I just thought, that's such a courageous approach. I'm not there. You know, people do master themselves in various ways that don't end up on Tony Robbins or Oprah Winfrey. I think it's just some of the greatest work in the world is people that have parents who weren't good parents and go on to find a way to have children and treat them better. I think that could be some of the greatest work being done in the world. It's not for me. I hate children. I mean, what do children do for me, really? all cute and funny and happy. I say that tongue in cheek, but anyway, I don't know my feelings about children. I don't have children, not around them. So why would I say I like them? How do I know I don't hate them? I just, in a sense, hate in the softest sense is like the way children use it. Like, I hate you. I don't love them. So I'm not necessarily competent to protect any of them from anything, even me, whatever that means. Like, parents should protect their children from themselves, from the parents. And like, we all could stand a little protection from each other, right? I mean, that's why people are the way they are, because it's part of the way everyone is what you've done to protect yourself from anyone and everyone around you. That's kind of how humans are. We barely, especially white people, you barely develop it. Basically, you're protecting yourself from the people around you. And it's like this sociopath in here saying, oh, you know, you smoke weed and it protects you and it puts you in a certain place. And it's like, well, that's one way to look at it. A few years ago, I would have, yeah. But his whole way of life puts him at odds with people every day, you know. And in a way that actually I think he's learned that I'm quite sympathetic to. So I take his little bits of advice and I kind of round them out a little bit and say, you know, not that I did that. Thankfully, he's not so pointed anymore. Sometimes he would point at me, you know, this is your picadillo, you know. And he doesn't do that as much anymore. It's just like, my God, it took 2 years of rare conversations and hearing all kinds of shit. Look at, there's the raven. It's a loud, clear raven. 2 number 3s. Yeah, and so that he would not be too invasive in the way he kind of projects on me, because quite frankly, you know, everybody projects. So it's like, let's just get, at least he's honest about it. And he respects me. He respects me, but he does need to talk a lot. And so it can make me a little bit sick. So I don't like to be, I do call him a sociopath. He tells me that other people have called him a sociopath. So but I also, I take what he tells me as his defense. He talks about feelings and says, you know, sometimes feelings are not going to help you. Like, there's just some things are true, whether you respect your feelings or not. And I think he needs to sort of change his strategy. But it's not the worst way of thinking. I wouldn't say someone like that is, if they are a psychopath, which he kind of is, but it's like, for him, see, people don't see the other side of him. I know that he's been basically sexually molested by his dad, by his mom, by other women and men and corporations in his life who have robbed him of things of which we should not be robbed. Maybe you want to round that out and say, well, we haven't figured out as a society if land and me is right to make sure we don't do that. So we have to be careful saying that everything is raping us, okay? And that's mitigation, that could be denial, and it could be quite a sensible way to live, too, because the world is challenging, and if you just thought of every way that it robbed you, how would you ever get to enjoy what other people enjoy who aren't me, right? So I try to round out my discussions with my own patheticness, but it's good to be modest. I've dealt with a lot of power in nature, and not in a fun way. So it's like, it's me. I don't have to try to be modest. Trust me, I have boundaries. My body has boundaries. My body has limitations. My teeth have limitations. My dick has limitations. My heart has limitations. So let's just say I'm very aware of my limitations. I have no reason to make anyone angry at me. Believe me, I can't deal with any more anger directed at me, or desire, or I'm talking in a way that hopefully works perfectly. I think it's honest, but maybe on some level it's a strategy to get people who watch my videos, if I ever upload them, to kind of not really love me, but pleasantly hate me, you know, and not stalk me, so that if females got attracted, they wouldn't want to have sex with me. They wouldn't think about my penis or holding my hand or setting up an email relationship where they could ask a few questions of this incredibly intelligent, wonderful man, you know, or something. And I just don't want anything. I don't want that. I'm telling you no. No, never, never gonna happen. I just don't do that. That's, you know, I think people hear me, and I appreciate that if you hear the personal nature of my address, the range of my so-called intelligence, and you know, you might hear me, someone else might say, oh, he's really great, how do you know one day I'm not gonna die of gonorrhea? And you're like, shit, maybe I shouldn't have taken this guy so seriously. You gotta be careful about people. There's no advantage to me in you assuming I'm better than I am, but make me work for it. You know? Because that's the load I suffer every day from everyone else but you. Oops. How you doing? Hey, good day.
You getting pictures or?
Oh, from time to time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing. I'm not much of a photographer. It gives my mind something to do. Yeah. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey there, person, dog.
Dog. Old dog.
Yeah. I sometimes call them persons as a synonym for spirit, but it's like I love their energy.
Running out of energy though.
What? Oh
He's
yeah.
running out of energy.
Yeah. Well, I kind of. Yeah.
15 now.
I have an older one at home too. Hello. Very good to meet you.
Sometimes he
Awesome.
makes it, sometimes he doesn't.
Well, okay. All the best to you, man. Awesome.
Can't get in the truck, that's it.
You know, this reminds me of a breed of dog I really like, although I'm not an expert on breeds. I do like this type of breed, though. Yeah.
Part border collie.
And got the border collie in there too.
Yeah. And lab. You get the lab's coat,
Yeah, lovely.
border collie's face and size,
He's
and he had the energy.
yeah. What's his name? Sorry.
Lefty.
Hey, Lefty. Hey. What I love animals of different ages. If I love an animal, it's like whatever age they are. I'm sure this was a good dog from the day they were born. You know, like that's a nice
Smart.
animal. Nice animal. Yeah.
Border collie's too smart sometimes.
Well, yeah. It's true. If you've ever had that, you know what that means. Yeah. So, yeah, and yeah, it's interesting. I've only spent small amounts of time with animals this smart. You know, I haven't got a dog of my own like that. Mine's a what are they called? A Shih Tzu. Oh God, I forget their name now.
Small dog.
White curly hair.
Okay.
Bichon.
Maintenance.
Yeah. Oh, low maintenance.
No.
What?
Shih Tzu, they have long hair, don't
Oh,
they?
this one's a Bichon, so they don't. He's not shedding.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're right. This is definitely more Bichon. It took me a while to find the word. Sorry. And the days of running around wildly in the yard are long past. And a smart dog, but not in an unwieldy way.
Right.
You know what I mean? I love a very passive kind of, you know. I think in some sense dogs reflect a part of our personality, and
Yeah.
I see a lot of myself
seen that.
in my dog.
Yeah.
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 And then other dogs bring out different qualities. But yeah, Lefty's cool, and Buddy's energy has always been nice, and thankfully he's doing all right as he ages a bit. Yeah, it's an incredible. I just see. I would say Lefty's an incredible dog for being out here and walking around, and
He
good
wants
for you
to go,
guys.
but sometimes you just.
You have to notice that he's not up to it that day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, that's cool.
I just say, well, if you can't get in the truck.
Yeah.
That's it. You know,
Well, that's
you're not
fine. That's
feeling
it,
so
eh?
Good today, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. That's wonderful.
Other days, it's crazy. He just flips in there.
Yeah.
like,
Oh, good.
Not, but like every third day maybe because he
Yeah.
builds up a little energy and
Lovely.
yeah.
That's interesting. That's so great that you can watch that, and then he
Yeah.
gets. That's cool, man. That's changing life,
A
eh?
little time this morning. My neighbor's got a bunch of puppies and
Yeah.
6 months old. They keep coming over through the fence somehow and
Oh my goodness, to see
he
Lefty.
runs them off.
There you go.
Well, I tell him to. You know,
Yeah,
'cause I
yeah.
don't want them over here.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, he tries to run them off. They sort of ignore him, but
Oh.
they
Yeah.
realize he's older and you can't hardly chase him. But he gives it a big effort.
Good for you, man.
It's one of his jobs. Right?
Good for you, Lefty. Yeah. Right on. Yeah. Good for you.
He's wearing a belt because he's deaf.
Must have been quite a fearsome opponent, though, a few years back, I bet.
Oh well, he's killed a few raccoons.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That is fearsome, yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like you got it. Yeah, right on, man.
They come up onto the bird feeder and he's sleeping right there in his house, and all of a sudden he's out there.
Wow, man. That reminds you of the strength of a canine. Yeah.
Well, you don't have to train them to kill something. They,
Yeah, yeah.
They know.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
That's
just go for the
incredible.
throat.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's another slice of life. A lovely lady I ran into was talking about the bears she gets in her yard. It's a total slice of life. I didn't
Yeah.
quite find, I was going to say to her, I never did. I said, you'd be surprised how many people you could write down what happens in your backyard and it'd be completely new to them.
Yeah.
Just a completely,
Well,
yeah.
he's pretty good at running bears off.
Yeah.
Get too close, he bites them in the ass.
There you go.
Man, they're gonna turn.
That's
around. They keep
amazing.
doing that.
You have my respect, Lefty.
Yeah.
Like, if you can bite a
Well,
bear in
he's
the butt.
fast. Well,
Wow.
he was fast. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. You ever seen? See, I don't say this. I get the name wrong, but I think they're called Simi Emu or Shemi Emu or Simu. Anyway, these lovely dogs. That's kind of what I saw a little bit of that in Lefty too, and they've like a Japanese part wolf, part dog. I guess they kept the wolf in there a little bit, but they're a smaller size and they got a nice long hair the way he does. But I'll let you guys keep going, eh? I mean, we got to keep walking, don't we?
Not going much further.
For sure. And
I'm getting old too.
yeah. I'll see you guys another time. Right on. Take care. So, yeah, I said, like, you know, my camera is a bit of a thing, so he's like mentioning the camera. He was another friendly man. Oh, man, holy cow. Making a lot of friendly people. It's like there's all this evil energy knocking at my door, and I meet all these friendly people. It just shows that G4 is complete. This is a way to keep myself healthy and positive. If I stay in my home, it kind of creeps on me. I'm not even certain these people don't know where I live. Or what area I live in. But it'll take time. You know, I sit, for the first time in my life, I walked by these stores after they sexually assaulted me at the store, and I literally put a fucking pentagram in the sun over their store, because I was working with pentagrams at the time, in nature, big fucking pentagrams. I had a 40-foot pentagram in this forest across the river. I had another pentagram the other side, and I would do ceremony. I would throw sticks and stones and curse them, which in this way of using the word curse, meaning protect myself, but it's like, here's the gist of it as a satanic witch. When the emotion rises, to let myself say with great clarity, because the English language will baffle you sometimes in getting it across, to feel like you're getting across what you need to say, what you really want from the situation. And that even if it's like, you know, repulse these people from the threshold of my first estate, whatever it takes. But the pentagram, throwing us in the pentagram, clarifies all that energy. So you really can't harm anyone, but you can disturb people. Because it holds that energy, right? And anything that is really wrong will have to be corrected. Their diseases or their prognosis might be advanced in some respects, if only because the advance of any disease is necessary for it to complete its purpose, which is essentially to help you grow. I had a man sexually harass me in the store who passed away of brain cancer within about 6 months, 6 to 8 months. And it's a pretty day. It's a pretty day. Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty nice spot here, actually. Yeah. Nice and misty. Hey, how you doing? Yeah. I see you got a nice group out. Lovely. Yeah. Hello. Yeah, some eagles here and there, but I haven't seen many myself. But it's a good day. Have a good one. Okay. Yeah, take care. Bye-bye now. Bye. Ba. Yes. A few eagles out there. I'm gonna get all this group. Pretty day. Yeah. I'm not sure if that was sexual tension with those men. They were just quiet. It was lovely, passive male energy. It was great. Man, I should be friends with some of these people, you know? Men are some of the most competent people I know. I don't know, maybe I'm gay or something. I just feel like men, when they are nice, are just better people. I don't know them, but I'm just going off their energy. They seem like really nice people. I've met some really creepy old men. No, wrong, creepy as fuck. Like, they're not all there. You know, pretty good to an extent, but not for someone like me. I'm pretty sensitive. It's like, I will find it out eventually. There's something a little not quite right. And it's like, it'll come out eventually. So that's why I'm really careful with people, because whatever it is, that niggling thing, it will come out eventually. My birth energy is plantain, which just like brings things out of people. Like drawing out infection. I have a lot of snake medicine, a lot of owl medicine. My mind is meant to contend with human disease. There's just no way around it. I've been in denial most of my life. I'm like a doctor that doesn't exist anymore. I just contend with disease in different forms. No means an expert in one, kind of a jack of all illnesses, but a master of none, you know? I've been sacrificed and blighted and raped and hurt and punched and had my shoulder dislocated. So it's funny. Oh, hi. Hello. Hi. I'll just move over here for a second. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Hi.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Hello, hello, hello. Strong black dog. There you go. And see, that was lesbians. Lesbians are nice. See, that was a nice lesbian. They have the best energy. Like, she was like a woman, and then she was like a really soft, easygoing man. You know, it was great, but strong. Wouldn't mess with her. I like that. Let's go over here. Oh, I'll just move over here. Go ahead, please. Yeah. Thank you. It's a pretty good day. Hey, oh, how you doing again? Sorry, my eyes aren't perfect. There's a little low light in here. Yeah, but have a good one.
You too.
Yeah, bye. Almost perfect. Oh. So a woman and a man who are nice, who have each other. It's nice. People are really responding well to me today. I must have a good energy of some kind. But what if I start praising myself and think, oh, what if I meet like a really negative person? Then they hack me down to zero. I find it like some women walk around, I swear, I've had this happen. Like if I look too happy, I've met people who want to knock me down a few pegs. I guess I'm a poor person, because if I was one of you hardworking people with suits and or just reasonable attire, whatever it is that makes me look like I'm working, I don't think people would treat me the way they do. And it's just so. My dad is probably sitting there, couch surfing or armchair, coaching my life. He's going, "Fuck, Landon, I told you." Dress for success. You dress like a homeless person, people treat you like a homeless person. And it's just something he acknowledged. I said today that people, when they're trapped, they learn how to deal with being trapped. So everything my father knew, even though he was trying to tell me how to be free, he was telling me how to deal with life based on the fact that you're trapped. And which means I would have to accept being trapped, and I couldn't do it. Then later he said, "You're like a wild horse that can't be broken." He would say weird things to me like this. I'm like, fuck, is that a good thing or a bad thing? You know, I think I'm broken. If you're listening, I think I've been a little bit testicularly challenged. Men, like the men that I'm meeting today, I have no doubt in my mind, have done a lot of things which I have never done. Does that make sense? You know, just trying to see where the maker needs me. Trying to see where creation wants to be near me. Trying to see if my body can fit into some concussion that appears before me. Sorry. Just trying to have some fun. I'm so serious. I thought there was a trail down here, but I think I was wrong because I'm just a fucking idiot. Okay, it's a fucking idiot kind of moment. I thought there was another trail. I'm sure there's more than one along here, and I just, fuck if I know. Why did I bother thinking? I should stop thinking. I gotta piss myself in a second. Wait a second. I'm gonna piss myself. Blessed, blinded to the blessed powers of urination down my own leg. Wanna take. Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry, there's a little light in here. Alright. So, meeting people. They're a little nervous around me, I noticed, but that's okay. They're nice. That's good. Like, first meeting, nervous, smiley. That's cool. If I'm like, oh, I hope we never see this guy again. That's twice in one day. People who see me and they said, oh, we see you walking on the beach a lot. They can be a little intimidated by my energy. It's like my dad would say, Landon, you got to accept. You don't work. You talk to yourself. You say crazy shit about women and the world being schizophrenic. People are going to be a little intimidated. And that's letting you know in their body language. Not that you're a freak. Just that as you go on in life, you're going to have to find a way to curtail your enthusiasms and your sense of indignation and your hatred and your anger and even your intelligence, much as it may be well commended in its efforts to understand the disease-ridden nature of the world. And in difference to the fact that you've never had gainful employment or supported yourself, yes, you are still an important person and you don't have to prove that to me. I've never felt like I was an arrogant person, but maybe there's kind of a false humility there where it's not arrogance. It's like I just don't bother to recommend myself to people. In fact, I myself believe I'm useless, really, until I come up with some useful philosophy. Like, how did you find your philosophy? I walked around and blathered on about my personal problems as I imagined them in various hyperbolic, seemingly medical or academic ways, which probably didn't have enough contact with reality as most people understand it. I was indulging a fantastical exploration of what I called the world of mass human pathology, while in fact I was just finding ways to lose more of my testicular charge and lay on my mother's couch and play with myself. Okay, well, do you know when they say too much information? Well, you had me at hello. TMI. I should have a YouTube station called TMI. Hi, I'm currently anal leaking. Anal leaking. I've actually gone to the bathroom while on YouTube. So I'm just taking a crap right now. It's been at the end of a long day. Down to Chinatown. Down, Leroy Brown. Wait a second, that could be racist. Let's check. Compute. Leroy Brown is probably black. Uh-oh. But not brown. You can go ahead. Bad. Leroy Brown. Crappiest man in the whole... Oh, I think people call them black people so they can be racist. Because they'll be like, well, they're not really black, so it doesn't count. It's like, I hate people who are these particular shades of brown. Number 1, 2, 3, and 8. Fuck them. Arrest them and put them in jail. The rest of you are lovely. Lovely, absolutely lovely. Darlings, come. Live in our neighborhoods. Beat us with your own batons. We love you. You can do no wrong. Number 7 black is amazing. Who are you? I have to check your tint. Hold on. That is kind of weird. Like police officers often check the tint of the windows of black drivers to make sure it's not too black. It's so fascinating how their racism just actually goes to their windows. I mean, I'm not a big fan of window tint because I'm glad that more cars have it. Don't get me wrong, I like being inside of it. I love the idea of sitting at the supermarket in my mom's back seat and just watching people like a crazed animal from inside. No, not exactly, but it is nice to have that privacy. I don't have privacy walking around, so the odd time I'm in my mom's car, I'm like, this is amazing. Nobody can touch me. We're moving at an incredible speed, and the animal of my mind just feels really safe. Like, wow, how many characters in movies, like, they get into a car, they get into their Aston Martin. It's not always safe because they're a fucking hero and shit happens to them, but the car is a kind of refuge. It's like, at least at this point, you're not running with 3 bullet wounds anymore. You're in your car, and it's got like all kinds of magical devices. Never runs out of gas. You never hit pedestrians. Nobody ever sues you. It's pretty good. They pursue you. I'm gonna pursue you, motherfucker, and you're gonna bend over and take it on Hallowed Eve while I sing with the leprechauns under the northern lights. Anyway, we continue our journeys into Never Never Land, which is a kind of way of life where you should never go. I'm okay. Had some lunch. I had a good crap. I started late, so I'll finish late, but I'm just walking. Just walking. I need to take a piss. So we'll do that in a moment. Once I get a little bit further on. People are good. I try not to injure myself. I guess I have a hobo culture to my way of life because I look down at my feet. It's like, oh, I gotta get new shoes. But yeah, shocks. Shocks. And that's this around. You gotta do something with it. So like my camera, I deal with shock today. Like I had some nightmares and I had to breathe about this whole local food store thing. I had to breathe. Okay, I'm in shock. And this morning, I remember I got to take care of the dog. And then I downloaded a video game. I always lose. I hate it. It's kind of stacked against you sometimes, but just to wick off my frustration of just feeling the shock, this anger, this victimization. And people have a lot of opinions. They say, well, don't become someone who says, oh, this person abused me, and well, just like I said, there are people on YouTube that have really cool opinions, very sensible opinions, even if they're not as hyperbolic or passionate as my own, because I think sensible things about trauma are also can live alongside, really, really honest, emotional, angry, bitter things about trauma. There's a long, but it is nice, no doubt about it. I definitely invite anyone to the circle of trauma who's just got some wonderfully clear things to say about what they've noticed, whether they're traumatized or not, about people who enter into misjudgment and elevated aggression, and it's miserable. It's literally the creation of misery in the world. It's where misery is created. When that happens, why that happens, where that happens, misery is created. Misery, right? So, goddamn misery. So, Jan Arden kind of shit, Goddamn misery, my mother gives me her luscious breast, lactating nipples in my mouth, she feedeth me. Even when I'm 50, I suck my mother's nipples. That's disgusting music, don't even put that on YouTube. Okay, don't even put that on YouTube. That's what I should call my channel, don't put this on YouTube. No, it's too rhetorical. People don't care. Okay, I gotta piss. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Oh Lord of piss. Come sweetly, but come. By all means, flow from my penis. Thy golden goblets be filled unto the brim. Oh Lord. My golden goblets. That's what they are, the golden goblets. Well, let's see. I give myself permission to sing and make merry, even though I am quite sensible, or at least quite capable of being sensible. But there are people who do not think very highly of me and who have treated me badly. People who treat you badly, whom you confront for every fucking thing they've done, that's beyond the pale of what is, acceptable human eccentricity, do not like it. Lo and behold, they do strongly exhibit a great lack of preference and a great reluctance to confront the wickedness which they have seen to distribute to the innocent flesh and blood of myself. Yours truly. Yours in love and hatred, Len. You see, the thing is, I can cry. I can woe beseech me and cry. I can really exhibit, truly, utter, unmitigated grief and sadness and love for my mother and father and this earth
And whatever Satan may be, the Father that I think that has kept me many, many years, and I don't even know his face. Perhaps but the face of the Son. The face of my first family. And he holds place for where my mother and father have been lost to me or robbed from me. And that is a rape, I say, that maybe just fits in the right kind of philosophy that, like a fictional book, could be transplanted from the world that could make people a little viciously, delusionally insane, but also have a kind of right to signal itself, if only because its deficiencies could be accounted for by some considerable necessity to simply try to comprehend human violence without participating in what could be seen as a violence or punitive inducing thing. Regardless of what we think we need to do to the people who hurt us, we just need to know where the hurt is. Of course, it doesn't make anyone look good, but that we just keep that, and we restrain ourselves from slandering people, but it's fucking hard work. I don't want to be someone who just hates the government, but I think I've gone to government offices, and there's a certain amount of good and a certain amount of evil, or strangely demonic incompetence. In that, you can account for it in its nature precisely because everything else seems to work so well. And you think, really, it's not that it's not working well, it's just working really well in a way that's not good for you. And then you might swell with indignation and go, you know what, it's not worth it. And they'll just explain to you, those are the rules, like, well, your website said otherwise. And I've literally said to them, like, look, I accept what you're telling me, I do. And I'm sure some people just need a little, if I could just have a little back and forth with you, just to sort of air any kind of lingering question I might have. And do you mind if I ask, like, it seemed like I saw something on the website that included it, but I do hear that you're telling me something that makes it emphatically clear that that's not the case. And I guess I'll just go somewhere else. And they're like, yep, okay. I'm really polite to them. And they appreciate that, and they're pretty good, like Government of Canada. I had to go to 5 or 6 different places till eventually get my photo ID, having all the correct documentation. In fact, I shouldn't have had to go that far, but I'm not going to make a federal case about it. It's like those of you who'd be like, oh, it's too bad for you, like who've had to sit at the DMV all day. So I spent that amount of time basically going from building to building. And it's like, I'm sure it's not that uncommon to have to do something like that, but it was amazing that I had to get in the right attitude, which is like, Landon, you've got a day of kind of work ahead of you. You may or may not do it. But the good thing about government and agencies, they'll basically just say yes or they'll say no. Right? They're not going to quibble with you. Just be patient, be polite, and just be like a little child. And, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Don't be like, hey, this has to happen or I'm going to kill somebody, because no one's going to enjoy that. So I call that survival. Right, you have to kind of think that way if you want to survive bureaucracy. It's still not perfect, because I've gone to things like the welfare office. And boy, those people can really piss you off. And it's hard to tell if it's because they just deal with so many poor people, or just because their services are just so badly trained and their attitude is quite poor. They just don't seem to care, but they don't really have to care if it seems like they don't care, And, you go to a restaurant with $100 in your pocket, they seem to care about you. You go to the welfare office, and it's like, if you went into a restaurant, they're like, oh, I guess you're going to want some food, aren't you? Well, show me your food stamps. Go over there. Oh, no one's there. Too bad. Come back in 30 days. It's really bad. And I've studied this. And I lived with a state psychologist who raped me. But you learn things from these kind of happy psychopaths who work around a lot of psychopaths. And I learned a lot and enjoyed my stay in her house until they raped me. But, what I learned is that, they will admit to you that the people they work with really don't give a fuck about other people. They just don't. They don't have to. That a lot of human beings beneath the surface, because their job sucks or whatever reason, they just don't give a fuck anymore. They just don't. They do the bare minimum. So if you're talking to them and it doesn't feel like they're giving you their best, if you ever talk to a government like in Canada,
not so much like the federal government or really important provincial services, but like unemployment, welfare, a little bit like that. I'm not an expert in every area. And these people work hard. They work damn hard, no doubt about it. And it's like occupational hazard type of thinking we're going on here, because you have a right as the consumer to be unhappy. And as an amateur journalist, if I feel like I've got some insight into why, I mean, of course, there's ways of troubleshooting such environments. I think a lot of these same agencies, they try to do things to boost people's morale and help them deal with the fact that when they're working, they basically treat it like everyone has a different kind of personality. And so there's blue people, red people, and yellow people might not like red people and so forth. And together they make purple or something. But I mean, they do try. They do try. And so it's not like just some dead, awful thing. They got the people they got the services they've got the money they got, the logistics they got, and maybe they could be accused of some incompetence in getting their staff too motivated enough to really, a lot of these services, you kind of have to be willing to go the distance for every person you talk to who's waiting for unemployment. And if they don't want to go the distance, you don't feel like it on the other end, and it makes you upset. And then what you'll find in some cases, if not all, like I found that you'll talk to one person and it's like, oh fuck. You can tell from the moment they open their mouth that they're not going to be any good to you. Really, I could tell from the moment you already. And excuse me. So. And you just know, and then you call back and you call back. Eventually you get someone. I've found out sometimes within a day or two that there's one woman, usually a young white female in any office, who knows what she's doing. And you're like, oh, Teresa, hi. I talked to you yesterday. And you want to say, oh, Teresa, I've had such a harrowing few days. I had to talk to all these ogres who work in your office, and they were telling me all different things, and they were yelling at me. Oh, Teresa, I'm so glad to have you. Please don't hang up, please. Can I have your personal number? Because they're like a lifeline. You're like, oh. And if you've ever had that feeling, you know what bureaucracy is like. And then everything gets dealt with in 15 minutes and you're done. Whereas the other 7 employees couldn't help you because they just didn't care enough. Have you ever talked to someone like, oh, and I'm going to need some of the blue cheese and the red crisp and the and the flim flam and the vim and the zimzorp. And they're like, yeah, whatever. And here, just suck my dick. And you're like, wait, you're not listening to me. Like, oh, I'll put you on to someone else. No. And then he's like, oh, I need some Zim Zims. And like, oh, yeah, right. You want to suck my balls? It's like, no, put me on someone else. And that's what it's like. And I've been given the runaround, but like, you know what? I'm tired of getting a different answer from everyone. And some fat white woman telling me over the phone, I don't think I like your attitude. Change your tone. And it's just like, in that one moment, split second, you want to take the phone and beat her over the head. And you don't. That's what makes you a real man. Not that you don't have the thought, but you bury it deep inside and never think about it again. And you're like, okay. You take a deep breath. I'll change my attitude. That sounds like a good idea. You've got all the power. And these other sort of anxious, aggressive, passive aggressive types, whose job I don't believe I could do any better. Right? That's why I don't do it. The problem is not like they're just complete psychos, is that there are people who have been pushed into working in a place where they don't thrive and or never even learn how to do their job properly, or just don't learn, and no one tells them that not only have they not learned, but they're actually pretty piss poor at talking to human beings when that's what you do for a living. Because those human beings, surprise, surprise, aren't always going to be happy with your services, and you're not perfect, and maybe you yourself have been, put to operator. And I find that, like, my mom has talked to federal agents, and they're so compassionate, and they really take the time to go through things with her, or anyone, respectively, and just take her through it and solve her problem. It's amazing. They have the time. That's their job. They pay them well. Canadian federal agents are really good. You talk to them, they'll take you through it. And it's like they want to work a solution with you. And they're not malicious. They like their job. They like dealing with people. They understand that they're talking to a person who wants to hang up the phone, make a peanut butter sandwich, and go sit on the couch and curl up with a good book. And they just want to do their job and get that tax return done, or get their address changed, and they want to go on with their lives. And sometimes you're in a good mood or in a bad mood. And if you're professional, you'll really get a lot more out of people. If you're out there and you're like, well, some customers are this or that, they're only going to be that way because you've given them the runaround. A professional person attached to a professional office could calm the most irate customer down in a few seconds with a few simple words. And not just because of the words like, I'm sorry, I'm going to help you, we're going to get through this. It's because what's behind it. You know, as an operator or an agent, sometimes you're only as good as what's behind you. I've seen organizations, and when like a restaurant, like when their policy is, if there's a hair in the food or the food comes too late or anything like that, they comp the entire meal for the evening. And because the waiter has that authority, it completely alleviates all stress immediately and makes them have a really good experience. And you might say, wow, people just like a free meal. And it's like, yes, but they just like to be treated that way, like royalty. Don't you? You know? And when you can say, I'm sorry, I'll comp your meal, that sorry really means a lot more than, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to pay double for the hair because it came from my pubic area. You know, it's two very opposite ways to go about it. When I've had my worst experiences, there's probably the least chance that someone's going to apologize to you. You know? When I was getting assaulted, and it was really serious, I was still kind of in my world of denial going, oh, I wonder if they'll just like give me $100 gift certificate and we'll all work it out. You know, it'll be great. Because they've always been really pleasant people to deal with. I just let them know there's been something going on and it's not nice. And there you go. But the more I complained, the worse it is. And when you're in an environment where the more you complain, however discreetly, the worse it gets, what do you think you're facing? You're facing pure evil. Pure evil. And there's a good chance that any of the people, the actors of this sort of operation, because it's like a spirit, it inspires people. Just like soldiers can be ordered to kind of gang up on people, just like hyenas can gang up on people. See, people who think they're perfectly nice working in a health food store can start to just take on the spirit of the soldier who, like the actor, is only as good as they can be told what to do by the energy, by the spirit, and by the attitude or the goodness or lack thereof of the group. You put some fear into a group and say, hey, Tyler over there raped my sister. Hey, Tyler raped my sister. Taylor raped his sister. Tyler raped his... And see what happens to Tyler in the next 3 days. Does Tyler get sick? Does Tyler die? Does Tyler have a car accident? Does Tyler fall off a ladder? Does Tyler cut one of his fingers off? Right? Does Tyler just get looked at and it brings up like there's an anger and he gets kicked out of the group? What? And you'll see how humans behave and how pure you really are. And it's the alpha of the group that say, hey, Tyler, someone's been really saying some awful things about you. And we really need to tie this off. Because, you know, this is now something that could be a great harm to you. And it's something that no one really wants to believe. But it's the nature of such things that people find it hard not to think about once someone's bothered to say such things. Because it's unbelievable to think that someone would say such things with no basis behind them. Even for you. And that may be that Tyler might say, well, it may be that I'm a greater person than you imagine. And sometimes people great like me, people who take risks and people who really advocate for children's rights and put their balls on the line, sometimes people don't like them. And maybe I'm a better person than you thought. Maybe you're not as great a people as I thought. And we should part ways. Because I find by the time someone is slandering me, the time it lives on the lips of those who look at me like a friend day to day or a brother or a sister, it's already over. It's killed everything that was meant to be killed. It's like a poison. It just kills things like acid. And it's over. It's done. It's dead. And it was never probably very good to begin with. And it just cuts all those ties. And you leave. And you never see those people again. And if it wasn't that, it would have been something else because, you know, at least you will never spend the rest of your life under the delusion that these were healthy people, which, I hate to be rude, is quite useful to me. You know, because these were people that were kind of therapeutic for me to be around. They were health food stores. Going there, I thought they were quite friendly and nice. And I wouldn't have shopped there if I didn't think they were. But there were problems. You know, for the owner, it was a big problem because he would say my name all the time, Highlander, but always felt like a little insincere. Like, why bother? Like, you don't have to. But there's just something there. It's just, unfortunately, you just can't hide it. And, we're not simpatico in some way. And then to take an environment that's positive and to become so toxic, it's good that it could destroy those illusions. And so, most anything you might think negative about these people is probably true. You have to deal with the fact that you've just been touched by a sickness in human beings that can gather itself up among a group that has invited you into their store for 12 years. And while thinking you this, that, or the other in some piss poor fashion, behaving exactly like what they're projecting onto me. Right? And there you go. You become the soldiers or the working organs of the spirit of the sexual predator. And you've done it to me. And you've done it on my watch. And it doesn't matter who you are to me or how long I've known you. This is what you've done. And that's what I'm not in those words, but that's basically what I let them know. You've sexually assaulted me now. You understand? Nothing's going to change that. That's what you've done. And you have to live with that. And I have to live with that. Do you understand? It's a very violent effect that tears up any bonds and any credibility any of them really ever had to begin with, which means however much I trusted you, I shouldn't have, right? I shouldn't have trusted you with my life or my safety, much less my health. How would I ever trust you to my health ever again, right? My mom shops there and get loaves of bread and kombucha juice, and that's good enough for me. And thankfully, she doesn't really talk much about the employees very much. I'm just happy if I don't choke on the bread on any given day, because sometimes I have. In the last 2 years since it happened, I've literally almost choked on this gluten-free bread. Probably 4 or 5 times. Like literally, like to that point, you're like, holy fuck, I might die right now. That's how much I was choking on it. I had to literally calm myself down so I didn't go into shock and make it worse. Like, who the fuck knows, right? You gotta make a lot of noise. You gotta breathe if you can. You gotta, you're losing oxygen. You're losing airflow. And you're thinking. And you can't let yourself slip and go into panic because you'll die. Right? It's like a lot of things. And it's always their bread. Nothing else. Always their bread. Isn't that fascinating? That comes from their store. And the other day it was the sushi that came from this other store. And you think about the energy of that place. I'm very careful eating this bread, I assure you. But just not careful enough sometimes. And I use my throat chakra a lot. And I imagine that there are things in this world, whether I like it or not, they're not very happy about what I have to say. I know that. I've learned that. I've felt it all of my life. I know, like, just to be around a violent family, that talking about certain things is very dangerous. Very dangerous indeed. And once you feel that, the world's a different place. I feel like it's not really so safe anymore. If people can hurt you, you can't talk about it. And not talking about it is what makes it happen in the first place. Because people aren't educating themselves. They'll learn how to do any number of things in the world, but they won't learn how not to hurt you. That this is an enormous amount of violence it takes to do this, that, or the other, which means that's a problem. Hi, Eagle. Hi. Lefty. I've actually had good relations with people today. I've had good relations. I hope that you can hear me. Oh my god, I'm stoned. The stoners that person piled up there, I have to commend them. Always look like a living creature, like a heron. That person is a genius. I have to get some water and eat and go home. Ouch. We've reached our limit. All right. I don't want the nature of my thoughts to make my life dark. I need to, I'd have to form some sort of positive philosophy, I guess. Well, I mean, my mom's never had a philosophy. She's sort of happy. It's weird being a thoughtful person who doesn't get a university degree or a job. I grew up in a house that was kind of always scary. And maybe you would say, well, it is some work and not everybody finds a way to live a life where you're not living in somewhat scary places. I think things that make me smile are like the last two women who I thought were like just almost beatifically creepy to me have their names, and actually 3 in my life, but 2 that I can think of right now, that start with the letter G. That's part of the reason I call this the G4 walk, because it's in honor of the male victims of female unwanted energy. And I think of a woman named Jennifer, who was in my house under false pretenses and was leaving my house. And the moment she knew that I lived there, could do nothing but want to present her breast to me and hug me as tightly and warmly as possible with her humongous breasts pressed up against me. And it's like, they're a sexual organ for women, right? Kind of like, but they're kind of like Switzerland. They're like, they have free initiative in using that sexual organ and pressing it, or making a point with them, as it were, or pressing their presence as part of, yes, her sense of self and how she wants to dress that day. And if it happens to, draw your gaze or your interest, if only just in some perfunctory sense, then all the better, right? A girl's got to use her talents. I find, I like it when I've met young women. They usually have to be younger, who don't really, where their breasts aren't that big a deal in interacting with them. I always feel like they probably had better fathers, and their breasts don't ever have to really become a big part of having a nice conversation. I think, did I lose my joint or did I finish smoking it? I can't remember. I think I finished smoking. Yeah. And of course, like, as a man, like, oh yeah, breasts are great, but it makes me sad, My best relationship with a woman is my mom, and her breasts never figure prominently, I assure you, in a relationship. So I've never had a sexual relationship with a woman, so I've not really even seen breasts except my mother's, I guess, when I was young. So, very tight shoulders today. I can feel them. They're like I think it's like birth trauma now. It's like my shoulders just creeping in, and just they want to like crawl in, kind of like a, For like an entire year and a half, whenever I heard a siren, I thought they were coming for me.
Remember that song? Ooh, yeah. Da-da-da-da. Do the things that lovers do. Well, I've never done the thing that lovers do. So I have to ask, what do lovers do? Well, they go for ice cream. They take long walks. Perhaps they go skiing together. Oh my God, it's good. I gotta call my mom.